Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Vibing with Sleezy, the podcast. This is episode 13, and I want to thank everybody that's been listening here recently. The podcast's been going for about 2.5 months now. We talked about it on the last episode, but it has now been listened to on every continent except for South America and Asia. So I'm hoping to get that happening. Basically, I have a pen pal over in Japan, so I'm trying to convince her to give it a listen, and I think once she does that, we can get Asia. So anyways, I have a very special guest in the house. I have a psychic medium, a model, an artist, a little bit of everything. She is a very talented and smart individual. This person was actually a fan suggestion of the show. I got a DM about a month ago, and they recommended Paige, and basically my guest is none other than Paige Buckman. So welcome to the show, Paige.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, I appreciate you coming. So this is big. I think you are one of my biggest people to come, because this is like, I feel like you pretty much have your hand in a lot of things here locally. So that's really awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited. I try to keep myself busy with things that inspire me, or things that, drive me to want to do things that are outside of my comfort zone.
Yes.
It's like a big, I think, challenge, especially when you choose to stay in your hometown.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, like, if you want to be successful, you have to move away. And I don't believe that, you know what I mean? Because I like my roots in Kentucky. I like being here.
Yeah.
I think Kentucky's a really popular, exciting place for tourists. And it's surprising how much stuff we actually have going here. So,
and Louisville changes like every year. It's like rapidly growing, rapidly improving, like from the standpoint of just how much stuff they're building and doing here.
Yeah, they're constantly building buildings to leave them empty, though. They're
like, one
day somebody might inhabit
Yes,
this, but it's empty.
Exactly. So, what podcast have you been on before my podcast?
So, I was featured on the Dumb Blonde podcast, Bunny XO, Jelly Ro's beautiful wife.
Yes, and shout out to Jelly Ro.
Yeah,
yes.
Shout out Jelly Ro. And it was an amazing experience. I went down to Nashville, met Bunny and her team, and it was just, her energy is wonderful. That woman is a walking goddess. So
that's
I
awesome.
like to surround myself with beautiful, inspiring women. To shout out all my girls.
Yes, shout out to all the ladies. And shout out to all the ladies that listen to Vibing with Sleazy. I appreciate you.
Yes. So I'm excited to be here. This is one of many podcasts, hopefully, that I will be on. And, I just feel like there's a lot changing, and we're in the age of information, and people are exchanging information freely. And I really like that. And I will be honest, podcasts weren't my thing a few years ago, but recently I'm like, wow, there's a lot of people talking about a lot of cool, astrology stuff and things that I'm interested in. So, that's exciting.
And from a networking standpoint, it's dope, because, you and I didn't even know each other before the show. It's our first time actually meeting, which is really cool. She's super cool. We got to know each other here before the show. And I'm now following you on all the social media. We're following each other. And I think it's cool because not only are we supporting each other, like I do everybody that's been on the show with whatever they're doing, I think, too, it's cool. Like, someone suggested you, I reach out, and you're super cool and willing to be on the show, which, to me, I really appreciate it. That's huge.
Yes. And I'm so excited about episode 13, because 13 is my lucky number. It was my birthday 2 days ago on the 13th.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. And so I'm just pumped.
And you went out last night, you said you had a good time last night.
Went out with some of my girlfriends to the dance club and saw the drag show, and it was phenomenal. It was a beautiful experience. Always is. I love the artistry. I love the makeup. I love
you went to Play in Butchertown.
Play Louisville. Shout out. And it was exciting. Everyone's pumped because the restrictions are lifting at the end of May. Shout out May, because that's my birthday and everything's going back to normal. So things are good. Life's good.
That's awesome. So I want to first start off by talking about the main thing that I feel like you do, and the thing that I think is so interesting, so cool, and it's something that I've always been about for years, is you being a psychic medium. And so we've already kind of talked for the show. We both have some stories and some things we want to talk about. We've already kind of discussed a little bit, but we're gonna dive into those. But the main thing about my show is I like people to learn things, take away something from the show at least, and also to learn about you from the standpoint, not only for you to like be able to plug your stuff, but also to kind of just experience someone else's view on things. So I'm ready to ask you some questions about psychic medium things. So my first question is, when did you think you had the gift or like when did you feel it? Like, is that a fair question to ask?
Okay, so it is a gift. It truly is a gift.
Okay.
But at first, I feel like almost all people that are super tapped in on, you know, an emotional level, a physical level, a sensory level, you know, there's different types of the gifts. We call them the clairs. And I feel like at first you feel weird, you feel exiled. So I didn't ever really know that it was a gift until the last few years.
Okay.
So this is like very much me out of my comfort zone. Like I said, showing the world, you know, things in personal, like I feel like people are getting to know me on a really personal level. Like I never made live videos, did not have a YouTube channel, you know, these things that I'm doing in the last few, really only a year or so have I been actually putting live collective readings out.
Well, I'm going to say this, not to blow your head up or but basically you have other fans that I've had on this show and people that I've told about having you. So my friend Virginia as well, she's a huge fan of yours, and she got super excited. So people are following you. People like what you're doing. So I think you got to keep doing this. This is awesome. So,
yes, and I feel really grateful for all the people who have like never had a reading that have booked a reading, and they're like, wow, this was not what I was expecting, or like, wow, this is totally different. And I love
if you haven't had a reading, get a reading. And even if maybe it's not with Paige, just give it a shot. Like it's something cool to do. Being open-minded, I think, is the most important thing in life, and I think it is something that you should experience. You might think it's bullshit, but this is something that actually is legit, and I've had several readings. We're actually gonna do something here later in the show, which is cool. So I think that people just, once they try it, it's gonna blow their mind.
Yeah, exactly. Like I started getting readings probably, I would say, about 10 years ago, and I've gotten readings in New Orleans. You know, I've gotten readings in different places where, you know, these people don't know me for sure.
Now, New Orleans, let me ask you a question. Where was your reading at? Like what was the scenery around you?
Oh, it was like this mystical like shop, and like all of their witch like type shops all have readers and psychics there, and so like they have back rooms, and it's like
they got people
always behind a curtain
in New Orleans with like a little candle, and they're sitting at like a little
on the table. I don't go to the street ones. I've never been to a street reader.
I've seen someone do that, and it gets pretty crazy, like the way, because it's kind of a spooky vibe when they're like reading it there at a little table, like a little candle. It's like let me get your hand.
Actually, you keep talking about people touching your hands. I never touch people's hands during readings, but I will say that I really like the virtual readings. I know a lot of people are skeptical. They're like, no, it has to be in person. But I've been reading. I read for someone that lives in Australia last weekend, and I had to like add her to my schedule. She wrote me and said, look, I want to book with you, but I like, none of your times work for me. I'm 22 hours ahead of you, or whatever it is. And I was like, okay, so it was like 6:30 Friday night for me, and it was 8:30 a.m. Saturday for her. And she had like went to work Friday night, and she worked for the police force. She was a woman cop, which was like in Australia. And I thought that was the coolest thing. And she booked a mediumship appointment, like wanted to talk to loved ones and stuff, and like within a few minutes I had her dad and she was crying, and me and her were like connected, and I was like, girl, you're in the future, like it's Saturday, and whenever we get off this reading I still have like a long time until 8:30 a.m. on Saturday, and then it's already Sunday, you know what I mean? I was like, this is nuts. I was like,
that's really
the
nuts.
fact that you wrote me, she found me on TikTok. Shout out all my TikTok followers.
What's your username on TikTok?
Made in Kentucky, the same as my Instagram. So it is a U in Kentucky, not an E. So people are like, I can't find you. It's not an E, it's a U. Kentucky.
Yeah.
Signature.
That's cool. That's cool. So I think you being able to connect with people all around the world. We discussed this before the podcast started, how technology is so big and how it is you just able to connect. That's how we connected, basically how others are being able to connect. So I think that's super cool. And so I actually, we talked about this. So my little psychic experience, we actually have seen the same psychic before. So when I worked at Leo Weekly about in year 3, I was working for Leo, and basically when I was working for Leo, we got this psychic to call, and they said they wanted to advertise in basically Leo Weekly, and I was like, okay, sounds great. So I go out to Dixie Highway and I visit this place, and we discussed it. It was a little like dumpy house that was on the middle of a car lot right off Dixie across from a Circle K, and basically it had a big hand, like a psychic hand, that was sitting there like a little palm, and I was like, this is cool, like I'm gonna pull in there. So I pull in and she invites me in, and I look over and there's a mattress with some like orange stains, which is like really weird to me. And so she sits me down and she's like, this is Psychic Sylvia, and she's like got this accent, and it turns out that she's basically a gypsy that can't read or write, but she is able to read, just like she's just a really good psychic. Well, she grabbed my hand and started rubbing my hand. I was telling Paige that she rubbed it, almost gave me a friction burn of just how hard she was rubbing my hand. But she started reading and knowing everything. She was naming people in my life. She was talking about situations that I was dealing with. It absolutely blew my mind. And then out of nowhere, so I'm in this little side room, I guess it's the dining room of the house, and we're sitting at a table, and she's telling me all this crazy stuff that like is so accurate. It's insane. And this lady pops out from behind me, like out of a closet door, and it's an older woman, and it turned out to be her mother. And she locks eyes with her, and she's like, Mother, what are you doing? And I'm like, what is going on? Like, why is Mom popping out? And out of nowhere, the mother like started telling me stuff like it's gonna be okay. I was actually at that time going through a breakup, and there were some weird things at my job. It just was so accurate. It was crazy. So the place actually disappeared, which is crazy, when I went to go get paid for the ad, and I never heard from her again. Well, and about 4 months goes by, I go on a little vacation myself, and she calls me in Cleveland. And when she calls me in Cleveland, basically, she knows everything. She knows everything I'm doing. She's like, Eric, why are you in Cleveland by yourself? You're going through it, Eric. And I was like, how do you know this? And I was like, how did you know? And she's like, Eric, you're in a very rough area of town. And I was like, I am. Like, this is crazy. So I think it's just, it was so accurate. I actually lost touch again, never found her, and then saw her in the Highlands, and she then disappeared again. So I don't know what happened to her, but she was very accurate. So you've had experience with her. Well, tell me about your experiences.
So I just really remember the accent, and when he started doing the accent, like it actually is really close. Cause this woman is okay. Like I feel like she's definitely like an energy sorcerer of some sort, because this woman does magic spells. This woman does let me put it out of like different realm of like your day-to-day, just like you get a reading. This woman does a lot of other things that are invasive in my eyes. You know what I mean? Like, you have free will, and even
True.
if you were in a bad area of town, someone, even, you know what I mean, even if they were worried about you kind of thing, using your gifts or your powers or your, you know, to manipulate people or to get them to do what you want them to do, like run the ad. You know what I mean? Kind of things like that you were telling me that she did and then didn't pay you. So, like, I went, and she's very expensive, but this was, like, one of my first readings. I would say I went to her, I was, like, 25-ish or 24, turning 25. And always, like, around my birthday, I would get readings. Like, it was, like, a once-of-the-year kind of thing. Which little did I know, now that I'm in astrology school, that when you turn 26, Saturn gets in the last degrees of like the sign that it's in, and it's going to where it was when you were born, and it takes 29 point something odd years to go around the sun once, because Saturn is slow. You know, so basically you may get 2 Saturn returns because you'll make it to 60-ish, you know what I mean? But it starts when, like, you know what I mean? Like, when you're 26, it starts, and by 27, it's almost there, and then it, like, hits. Like, right now, you know, it's, like, 13 or 14 degrees Aquarius, and there's 30 degrees. So it's still going to, you know, take another 2 years to get all the way through that. You know what I mean? But it's been in it halfway. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
it's almost sense. 15 degrees, which would be halfway. So it lasts for like 3 years, odd in. It's like 2 point something, but not an exact. The, you know, planets, daylight saving time, all these things shift the, you know, the planets, they're moving at different paces anyways. So yeah, I definitely, like, have been transitioning and kind of going to a new space since 25, but that woman ignited a lot of that. Like, some of the things that she said to me made me think, like, like, in,
It makes you think. It makes you think.
It does make you think. It puts you in a different position where you're like, wow, they read me like a book. Like, I know my name's Paige, but you just read me like a book. You know? And
exactly.
Like, then I took a friend there, and he had never had a reading. And he was going through a lot of things in his personal life, like with his family and his child and just whatever. And she was getting him good. I mean, he was crying and everything. And she was like pressing him to pay her quite a bit of money to do this spiritual soak. Like, she was going to give him all of these things to soak in, and she was also going to soak at the same time. And it was like a ritual spell. It was pretty intense. And I told him he should do it. Like, I don't even know her, but I was like, she ain't never said nothing like that to me. And I was like, I don't know about it.
Because of how realistic she is, it'd be worth trying. Because to be honest, if she tells you to do it, it might actually be worth doing.
With energy work,
even though she is a mysterious lady.
Yeah, like with energy work, there always should be an exchange, because that's what keeps the person from burning out or being drained. Like, people DM me all the time and want to spill their life story. Like, that's really, like, it's like sending someone $10 on Cash App and then sending them the question and being like, hey, if you can, it would be cool. But instead, people just dump all their effing problems on you all the time, and you're like, yo, I have boundaries.
And you're a nice person.
No, I mean, I don't be doing free card pulls, because I think that's rude. It's basically saying, like, yeah, I really like what you do, but I don't want to pay you for it.
But that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
You know
I'm
what
saying
I mean?
You're a nice person, but you want to be paid for your services.
Yeah, I don't take advantage of people.
Yeah, you're like, I'm not. You're like, this is not what I do. Like, getting your problems and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I feel like some readers take advantage of people because they're vulnerable. They're in vulnerable situations. They're scared. They're in dark places. They're depressed. It's messed up. So I believe that, you know, that woman is legit, but I do believe that she does things that are actually building her karmic debt with, you know, the universe, with the gods, with the deities, whoever she's working with, because she's working with deities. Like, I work with, like, Aphrodite, she's goddess of beauty and love. She represents Venus. Venus represents Taurus and Libra, and I'm a Taurus and a Libra moon. So that's like my thing. Okay. Yeah, I'm a Libra moon. So the moon sign is like where the moon was when you were born. And it could be anywhere, because the moon moves pretty fast. Every half day, 2.5 to 3 days.
Wow.
It moves to a different sign. But
Okay.
Saturn takes 30 years. So people act like that doesn't affect me. You telling me that this energy doesn't affect you, but the moon controls 90% of the water and everything on our planet.
True.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
just because it's closer, you know what I mean? It's still
Yeah.
frequencies that are, you know.
That blows my mind. Like how it's so different in like, you know, years and travel and stuff like that. So do you feel like when you're doing your psychic readings or you're doing these, like, are you using astrology?
Oh,
or,
yeah.
like,
oh, yeah.
And
Astrology is changing my practice. I'm about to start offering birth chart readings.
Okay.
I'm about to start year 2. I've actually signed up for a crash course on tarot. Even though I know it, I'm going to learn how to read reversed cards, because right now, really, my cards never come out reversed because I've set that intention. Like, I don't know. They just don't. They flip out. People watch them. I mean, but they just do what I wanted, you know, upright.
Yeah.
And I always am a big believer, like, if you know something cool, do it to the best of your ability.
Exactly.
And keep learning and keep growing, and like don't think like, oh,
I
know tarot.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like now I think
great
that's really
to say.
gonna.
That's in anything. You should keep
Yeah.
doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep doing something if you're trying it. Yeah.
Yeah, like, and so, you know, I just want to be the best that I can, and learning, you know, from a mentor, or I already, you know, do a lot of classes and listen to a lot of like lectures. I mean, I have astrology school on Saturdays. I had it this morning, and it's about to overlap with year 2.
Ooh.
For like 4 months. It's going to overlap.
That's cool.
Year 2 starts in June, and year 1 doesn't end till November. But he says it all ties in. So year 1, I've learned.
And you feel like you're really absorbing it?
Yes, basically, like, we've broken it down into pieces. So yes, there are outer planets that we discovered later, which are Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus.
Yeah.
But now that we have gotten through Saturn, the original celestial planets, where each planet represents 2 signs.
Okay.
But see, whenever they discovered the other 3 planets, they were like, well, now we have a modern day ruler for Pisces and some of the other signs.
Oh, okay.
So like Neptune would rule Pisces in the modern day astrology, but I'm learning ancient astrology where Neptune wasn't a thing. They couldn't see Neptune. Neptune was who, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So even though Neptune had you know, a ball in the game, they didn't know that. So we've learned out till Saturn. So we've learned the traditional 7 planets, counting the sun and the moon, and it's been amazing. Shout out Nightlight Astrology. My professor is amazing, and he does a lot of really cool stuff on YouTube. And he's just like...
What's his YouTube channel? Do you know?
You can find him through Nightlight Astrology.
Okay.
I mean, he runs this huge school. I mean, we've got someone on every single continent in our Zoom class. Like, it's live, and then he puts it up. But I'll say that, you know, he gives you could literally quit your day job and just study astrology, how much stuff and like homework and things. But he doesn't grade the homework. He does that if people want it. And like he said in the beginning, if this even changes just your life, then you've done something right. So he's like, don't worry about, you know, are you going to make money on it? Are you going to do this? Or, you know, you just absorb what you're absorbing. And so it was really cool because my birthday was 2 days ago, and I study the current chart, because your birth chart is like, yes, the time you were born, this time stamp and time stopped. But everything is still in suspension moving.
Yeah.
So it's like where they're at and what they're doing now. Because if your natal Mars, you know, is in Pisces, and Mars would like to be in Aries instead, you're probably going to have some things going on, because Mars is the, you know, god of war and destruction, and you know what I mean? Like some things, you know what I mean? You may have, like, if that's in the house of home and family, you could have like a really asshole dad who like always just like, you know, treated you like crap or whatever. Like, you know, and so these readings are a little more realistic on like, yes, you're going to have these cycles, and you can either fret and worry about these cycles, or you can make the most of the energy, because the energy is this timestamp. It's your blueprint. It's your soul's evolution. It's this map that literally says, okay, you have some crazy, you know, conjunction oppositions going on, and it's in your home and family, or marriage, or work, house, you know, all these different houses, and the planets that there aren't happy. The best way I can explain it is like sometimes planets get in houses, and it would be like you own a house and you invited someone over, but you ain't home.
True.
So now this planet's in your home, but you ain't home. So they're like, damn, they're uncomfortable. That's not their spot. And so each planet, has a fall or a detriment or things like that. Yeah. So it's really interesting, and it's a lot, and I've absorbed and taken in. I will say that, like I said, this man, you could quit your day job and every hobby you have and dive in. Some of the stuff he wants you to read. I mean, I don't do all of those things. You know what I mean? Like, I'm getting it.
You do it your way.
Because I already was studying it on my own. So it's like, I'm interested on like a soul level to like actually help people. So I know Spirit is going to guide me and make it happen. Like, he always stresses how intuitive the readings are as well. Like, it's not all concrete. You fit in this box. Oh, in the marriage house is going to be bad. People can instill fear, or they can give you tools so you can unlock the cages and the things that you've got stirred up. It's not anyone else's, job to, map it out for you, but you're going to know where things have been treacherous and be able to plug and play of like how you could have maybe done something else instead of like, sometimes planets are like their own worst enemy, and they represent parts of our personality. So it's really intense.
Now, do you think I got another few questions for you. So do you think anyone's unreadable?
Unreadable would be people that want you to justify that you're a reader, or that you're a psychic or a healer, or like people that they want the reading, but they want to hound you on why it's not accurate, or like with their energy will be like closed off. It's kind of like a
little bit, but judgmental kind of.
It's not that they say you're not accurate. It's like they don't want to hear what you're saying, and so they're just discrediting the information, because sometimes people know
and that doesn't
the
really
answers.
Make you want to read that person either.
Yeah,
really.
So I don't read for anyone like that. I just know what it would like. I've never read for someone that's closed off to it, because I feel like I have this inviting energy that people are actually getting out of their comfort zones, because they're like, okay, I like this girl's energy, and I feel like it will just work, even if I don't know much about it. You know what I mean? And so a lot of people are just blown away. Like, I have all kinds of reviews on my Facebook, on my Contrary Cherry page, and they're, pretty much people's life stories, and they're spilling it out on a review. Reviewing a vacuum cleaner is one thing, but reviewing something that was really personal and incorporating how that made you feel, that's a vulnerable thing. So I shout out everyone who has left a review.
I think your energy is amazing. Just the way I've watched some of your readings, I've watched the way you connect with your fans and just people that do follow you, and you're a positive person. So that's awesome. And I think too, what you're doing for people is, it's really helping people as well. Let me ask you this. So what's been the most impactful reading you think for you that you've done for somebody? That I'm talking from the standpoint of man, this reading, I helped somebody, but man, that really felt good. Is there something?
And that, I swear, all of my readings are so powerful that I've now read for so many people that I'm now forgetting that I even read for some people, and they're writing me testimonials months later, this happened, I did this, or I'm I follow some of the people and I'm seeing them live out and do some of the things that they were scared to do. And I would never tell someone my opinion, because that's not what I'm here for. I tell them what their spirit guides, what their angels, what their karma, what the cycle is, whatever it is that they're actually asking me. I don't come from my perception. I come straight from spirit. I'm always asking to be the clear channel. That's why I, pray before every reading and pray after the reading.
That's dope.
I don't, just sit down and be sure, just have a few beers and we'll do some readings. No, the environment has to be right. The setting has to be right. There's a lot of things meditation. There's a lot of we call it spiritual hygiene that has to be done, working with crystals, whatever it is, to keep your energy clear and open. Because if I'm bogged down and I'm running around eating McDonald's every day or doing things that aren't good for my body every day and just taking care of my body like shit, your spirit's gonna be down and drained.
Yeah.
So I have to put a lot of work in my personal life and personal time to really walk my walk and talk my talk. Like, I can't just be talking about it and not actually living it, and I would never lie to someone about, what's coming through in their reading. So I feel like a lot of people have, for them, the connection that we have in that 40 minutes or 20 minutes or an hour, I really like the longer readings. Obviously, those people are really serious and they're like
they
ready,
want to really
and they
know
got
some
notebooks
stuff.
And they have questions and it's heartwarming, and people are like, I was excited all week for this, or so things like that are really cool. Like, people email me and will say really great things, just how much that resonated, how much that changed their life. TikTok, I'm really doing great on there with the followers.
You're really making an impact.
Yeah, I really am getting them people involved on TikTok, and it blows my mind because a year ago I was like, TikTok, I would not. So I feel like right now for me, it's just getting out of my comfort zone and just seeing what works, because I don't know. And with readings, it's just something I know. It's so natural. It just flows. I can't even make it up on how, like, at home I feel now within myself, like, more than I ever have, tapping into this side, helping others, like you said, and just like spreading wisdom and information. Like I said, we're in the age of information, and like, that's a life-changing thing for all of us.
Yeah, and I think too that you are not only helping people, but you're kind of helping yourself, like, from a situation
100.
of like you're making sure that you're doing what you've been blessed to do, but also too that it's helping you. I can definitely tell. It's like it helps you, your attitude, what you're doing every day, like your mindset. So would you say that you mess, and when I say mess, like, trying to think of the best term, but tap in with the cards. Like, for the cards, for example, do you deal with the cards every day?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I feel more at home with spirit. I'm constantly getting messages and downloads. I'm clairaudient, so I'm just constantly getting downloads, constantly. Like, I try to write as much stuff down. I mean, the amount of angel numbers that I see on license plates, cars, houses, whatever, a day. I mean, I took 4 pictures on the way over here. I, like, just at stoplights. Just pull up to a stoplight and 222's right there. And I'm just like, I can't make this up. I saw a license plate that said MX Moon. But, like, and I have this moon necklace that someone gifted me for my birthday. And, it's just really coming full circle to signs. Like, someone gifts me this, I choose to wear it today. Then I see this on the way, So I pay attention to all the universal languages. I'm just interested in it all. Being an astrologist is just like a dream of mine. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on it, because some people study astrology for 10 and 15 years before they ever make a dime, because they don't feel comfortable to give the reading. I'm comfortable and I'm ready. So learning the information, I know spirit is like guiding me when things need to align, they're aligning them. It's like already behind the scenes. So I'm just like, I'm not gonna stress and be reading 4 chapters of a textbook, like all these things. Like, I know what I need to know, and a lot of it, like you said, you can't put it in a box, because every single birth chart is different based on the meridian, the horizon, if you're in the desert, or if you're in, the East Coast, or if you're on another continent, or wherever, the time, the date, the area. Like, if you're born in Bowling Green versus Louisville, different sky, different view.
See, I never, and you're opening my mind to a whole new world, because I haven't really thought about it like that. And what's funny is how numbers and all that do have meanings. Like my driver's license expires on 11/11/2022, and this guy at the bank was like, "Hey, because I was like showing him my ID when I was doing like a withdrawal or something." He's like,
angel numbers.
He's like, "Dude, are you spiritual?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Look at your driver's license." And I was like,
that's the universe speaking to you through people. That's what I feel like I'm doing every day, and that is why I love this. Like, I know that this is the dream come true for me, because I've never felt more in alignment, more at peace, more in flow. And that's exactly the universe. That's how it happens. It's a catalyst. You start thinking about it, all of a sudden it comes into your reality. All of a sudden people are saying it to you. You're hearing it places.
So
you're reading it.
Yeah.
An ad pops up. A YouTube video pops up. It's just a constant thing. And so
that's sick to really
what's so amazing about it.
That makes you really feel good too.
Yeah, and it's like amazing because on TikTok there's so many different algorithms. Like, okay, some people like DIY art stuff, so that's all they see on For You page. Some people, and these people, they never post a video. It's like how your phone knows what you think. It's like they don't even search it, because I didn't search for some of the things that the For You page shows me. And I don't make any other video but the cards. But very rarely do you see my face. I mean, I have hundreds of videos. I'm not even, it's just my voice.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really interesting how these algorithms have like picked up things that I'm interested in, and we call it like tarot talk, or like talk, anything, whatever, if it's car talk, whatever it is, whatever. So I just think it's interesting how some people get on there and they only see workout stuff or food or this or that, and it's kind of like the human mind to me. And that's why I started manifesting followers on there, and I had the goal to hit 20K by the end of April.
I believe in manifestation.
I literally hit 20K on May 2nd.
Congratulations, that's awesome.
But I'm way over it now.
Yeah.
So it's like, I was manifesting that. I had 1,000 followers at the beginning of January, and I decided to get serious about it and just start making videos on a consistent basis.
That's huge.
I have one video that has over 500,000 views and like 70,000 likes. I'm like, whoa, I hit over 500,000 likes a long time ago. Like,
it means you're doing something
pretty
right.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's manifestation. That was like me being honest with myself and like showing myself to the world for the last 2 years, and getting on the other podcasts and doing these things that if I wasn't living authentically, it wouldn't have aligned like that. So that's one thing I will say for anyone who's afraid of spirituality or afraid of these types of things or resources, that your body and your soul know a lot more than your ego and your mind and your fears. You know what I mean? That's programming.
But a lot of times the people that don't believe, they're just afraid. They're just putting a fear in their head that's fictional. And if they opened up, they'd actually see a different side. Like something pretty crazy. I opened up my fridge, and I don't have a lot. I'm always out to eat or like going out to get a lot. So I have like chocolate syrup, spicy mustard, barbecue, the go-tos. And anyways, I look, all the expiration dates of my birthday. October 11th of this year. Oh my gosh. So that's crazy. Like, the other day, I was checking, I was like, let me make sure these are still good. And I look and I'm like, oh shit. Like, that's all my birthday. Like, these sauces. And so I'm just like, I'm keeping these sauces here. Like, and I got them in a little trio row. So I'm just like, those are my sauces. Wow. Like my birthday sauces. So I'm going to use them until my birthday. But I don't know what that means. But what's cool about it is, it's like, I look at numbers like that, and I just think it's cool. Like, and I also too, like, if I see my cell phone time, or I see my time in my room, like if I see like 11:11, I always make a wish. That's kind of like what I think about. There's certain patterns I like to see. Like if it's like 555, sometimes I might make a wish on that one.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah. Sometimes like I feel like you can manifest wishes. I brought this up to a friend recently about manifestation. How I actually felt for a while I was manifesting minimal things in my life. And I actually feel like I've actually manifested certain encounters with people.
This was manifested, me and you, because the person who recommended me, shout out. I have never met that person.
Shout out to Shelby, for recommending it. So, once Shelby recommended, then I told like my friend Virginia. Virginia got hyped. Then I started seeing everybody that's like a big fan of you. Paul Cody knew you. Like, it's just such a small world. And now, like, I think you and I are two very positive souls. I can just tell from spending time together. And I think it's cool that we've manifested this, like, friendship by just digitally knowing each other. And now it's like we personally know each other. So, so I view it that way. Like, I'm a really big person on, like, something else. Like, I guess to get deep. Like, I love talking about this kind of stuff. But I love reflection too as well. That's a big thing in my life. What I do is I reflect on a lot of positive things, and like any negative in my life, I just view it as a minimal thing in my life, and I just like throw it away in my brain. Sometimes it can be hard. The brain is such a complex thing and play games with you, but there's so many positive things, and I think that's what's so cool about memories. And it's good to reflect on positive things, and it's really helped me like, I don't know, like centered things kind of, where it's like I think about all the positive in my life, all the blessings, like I could be having it so much worse, and any negative things, it kind of helps me to overcome them, like reach the goals of those. And so I think that you can actually, and I really do believe in this, you can manifest to, like, by thinking positively, like more positive things to happen that can overcome those negative things you're dealing with.
Yeah, and also, what the whole thing that you were saying is just like the attitude of gratitude. Like that's all I could think about, because that's reflection is an attitude of gratitude. Like just being mindful that not everything can be the way you need it to be all the time.
Yes,
and
exactly.
That's why astrology fascinates me, because a lot of these times are major transits in our life, and people are out here walking around, and we call it raw dogging life. Y'all are out here, no astrology, no tarot, no divination, no meditation, no reflection, no journaling, and I'm like, how do y'all get through the noise?
They're closed-minded, because what I feel,
because
what in my opinion, they're closed-minded, and what they're doing with life is they're going through a robotic system. And to be honest with you, it's very okay. Here's the thing, not to like discourage anybody. I respect you 100% if you're in your comfort zone. If you feel comfortable in your life the way you do it every day, more respect to you, more power to you. But in my opinion, that's where, like, talking about what we were talking about in the beginning of the episode, being open-minded and letting some of this spirituality, like, and even if you don't believe it, hear it out. Like, talk with somebody, try it out, and that way, yeah, your life can still be comfortable, but you could also kind of be like, whoa, there's a lot more to it. Like, there's a lot more that my brain can expand to. There's a lot more that I can embrace. And it's like, and I know you're not going to be able to get everyone on it, but it's also, too, it's like, it's just open your mind to a lot of things, people. Like, that's just my opinion.
Yes,
like,
life gets so magical when you decide to let your life get magical. Like, I make everything a magical ritual experience, even like cleaning my house, like things that I don't necessarily want to do.
Okay.
You make it a ritual.
That's
and
cool.
So cleaning actually frees up negative and energy in your house, because dirty laundry, trash, things like that hold negativity and energy.
Gosh.
So if you have a lot of trash or things roaming around in your crib, it's draining you. You're coming in and it's basically like, oh great, the phone is home, we gotta charge up, and it like charge it, you like connect into it and drains you.
I cannot believe you're bringing this up. You are like nailing it. So here's the thing that's crazy. I'm super OCD, you can clearly tell. Like, I like how everything very clean. But here's the thing, before you got here, I went and cleaned my truck out. I went through my phone, got some things done, did my emails, yada yada, cleaned the whole crib, did the litter box, got everything set up. It felt so fucking good just from a mental standpoint. Like, I'm like, everything's done. Like, me and Paige are about to have this dope-ass podcast. I'm going to upload it. I might go out with a few friends tonight. Oh, life's good. Like, I'm feeling good. And it's like, once you get that done, you just feel like, whatever bullshit is going on, it's like, whatever, it's minimal. Like, I'm on to the night. Like, I'm on to the day. And it feels good getting that done. So
and
that's so crazy you said that. Like,
yeah, that's why, because the energy is held within everything. So if you've got even dirt on your floor and you're walking around and you've got messes everywhere, it's stressing you out internally, even if you're not thinking that it's letting you bother you. Like, some people can be comfortable, they got cups everywhere and stuff, and like, honestly, they're not stressed, but their body is. Their body and the energy within them and their aura is stressed.
So your environment is
so then that manifests into an argument with their girlfriend or an argument with someone else that's external, that has nothing to do with the cups, has nothing to do with anything else, but the energy goes somewhere, period. So all that negativity is bottling up inside of you, and even though if you're not taking it out on the cups and you ain't taking it out on the dishes or the trash, you know what I mean, and you're leaving and going out with your friends, and when you come home, you still come home to this mess and don't care. I'm saying that energy will manifest in other areas of your life. So it could be your relationships, your family life, your work life. It doesn't have to be, it could be anything. It could be impatience driving where you're an asshole. It can manifest anyway. So when I see people like kind of running around out here asleep, just doing weird,
which is what people are.
Like, weird, mean, like throwing trash out. Like when I see people throw trash out, it grosses me out. Their soul is like rotting. For one, like
because they don't care about
anything. They don't care about their soul if they threw that trash out.
I've talked about this on almost 4 or 5 episodes, and even people that just throw out trash, they might think, listening to this, oh, that's bullshit. But I really think, I've said this on, like I said, 5 episodes or more now, and I'll say it now. Legacy is important, and it's very key. I think everyone has a purpose in this life, and you have a choice to make it a positive legacy you leave or a negative. And yeah, you might not be famous, or you might not get your name in lights, but you leave a legacy of what people remember, what you've done. You achieve something if you're living a positive life. And so a lot of times when people are littering, or they go somewhere and they're putting something down, or they're putting a craft down, or they walk past a vendor or a homeless person, oh, piece of shit. Like, those pieces of shit people, they hate their life, number one. They're very negative in their own life. And number two, what they're doing is just, they're leaving a legacy of just, like, bullshit. It's like, why do you want to look back? Also, too, it's like, why do you want to look back on your own life? When you're by yourself, you might be looking out on the river or drinking coffee in the morning and thinking, man, you know what? I'm so nice. I'm married now. I got kids. All this stuff. But I fucking told this homeless guy he's a piece of shit. Like, that makes you like that should make you feel like shit, because it's like, why? Like what was the point of that? Even if you felt bad in that point of your life, it's like, if you put the positive energy out, it's gonna come back in some way. That's what I believe in.
Yeah, that's exactly like energy cannot be destroyed. It can just be, changed, altered in some way. It's not going to be destroyed. So, because that negativity is within you, you take it out on someone else. Now you've put it into them, and then they put it into someone else. Maybe their mom, you know what I mean? Maybe they go off on their mom because they got in an argument with you, and you took the upper hand, and you were being an asshole, whatever it is. So you know what I mean? It's like, energies are going to keep flowing no matter what. And like you said, it is about, I feel like for me, legacy is like generational, like a generational thing that you're going to either pass on and it's going to live on forever, or it's going to die. And people are always like, well, I'm not going to be here, but that example about the tree, people planting trees when they never get to see the shade. It's kind of like that. It's like, if you take care of something, then it lasts. But we've been programmed in the last 30 years. 50 years ago, people didn't, like, at least 75% of America didn't own more than 3 pairs of shoes.
Really?
Yeah, like 50 years ago. You know what I mean? And 50 years ago was like in the 70s. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't like it was 1940.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Picasso thought. Like, everybody thinks Picasso was such an old artist, but he lived till like the 50s or 60s.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people can't believe that Picasso, I think he was this 1800, 1700 artist. No, he was living.
He was more modern, yeah.
Yeah.
So it is interesting to me, like, people now want to take the shortest way possible, but the whole point of the human evolution of our soul is this journey, is the journey. It's not the end destination, because when you get to the end destination, you're worn and beaten down by life, and that is how it was planned. Like, that is the design plan. Like, that is the master plan. Your body, I think also a great metaphor is like, you start out crawling, you know what I mean, and you go out kind of, weak, not necessarily crawling, but you know what I mean, but kind of like you start out weak and you, so I think people take all of the stuff going on, especially with social media, just so much energy and information is exchanged every day. Every person that you have on your Facebook or any platform, you're exchanging energy with them. I know a lot of people, especially celebrities, when they're like about to drop an album or a movie, they'll unfollow everyone. Like, it maybe not the people that sponsor them, like Estee Lauder or Coach, but they unfollow everyone else, and they detox from a timeline. They detox from the energy, from the stories, from the constant need to keep up, from the constant need to absorb. And I think that's the society that we're in. I started putting my phone on airplane, like bedtime mode, at 9:05 every night. It goes on bedtime mode. And I mean, sometimes I'll do not disturb and turn it off and stay on my phone or make TikToks or whatever.
Is that...
But it's an iPhone feature.
Does it help, though?
It's helped because it tracks, like, your bedtime. Like, I set a bedtime sleep goal. And it tracks your alarm, and it just automatically sets an alarm in the next morning.
How important is sleep to our mind, do you think?
I think a lot of people think they're depressed, but like I said, their spiritual and, like, soulful hygiene is not okay. Like, they're not taking care of their surroundings, they're not taking care of themselves on the inside. Maybe the outside, they've got the prettiest eyelashes and the beautifulest shoes and whatever they want and need, but their soul, like their self-worth, their self-talk, so if you're not eating properly, sleeping properly, getting enough vitamin D, actually taking vitamins, people don't realize everything that you're putting into your vessel creates energy within you. So I know, a lot of people don't think about, like, oh, I'm gonna eat 3 Krispy Kreme donuts now and 4 later, but you started your day with, like, a shit ton of sugar. How is your body reacting right now? Not okay. Your body wanted, like, a banana, and that was probably it. It probably would have been it with that and some water. That's like, facts, they say that you're supposed to drink, like, I don't do this every morning, but you're supposed to chug, like, at least 14 ounces of water as soon as you wake up, because all of your organs need it to really get up and going properly. And that's why some people, when they wake up in the morning, they're lightheaded, they're dizzy, they're sick, they don't feel like getting up, they're super tired, they're lethargic, they're moody, and they drink coffee. So America's Solution Brainwash program, coffee.
True.
Coffee is so bad for you, but I like it. Don't get me wrong, but I don't drink it 7 days a week. I drink it, maybe I only drink it at home, because why would I pay $5 for coffee when I can literally spend $20 and get a coffee maker for $20?
Oh, I love my coffee maker.
You know what I mean? And it's a cheap one. It's just a little cheap one. For $20, I'm just like, one coffee at Starbucks could be $9. But shout out America and how people do things and cope. I feel like it's more coping, kind of just like, the government doesn't want to mention anything about aliens, and then we get in a pandemic, very vulnerable, very emotional time for America, and they're like, by the way, let me slip a few other things that we've been knowing for 50, 80, 100 years, and we just want to let you know we do care. We're here. Here's a little check. We'll distract you with this. So we're constantly being distracted.
From us.
We're constantly being distracted. And I think, like I said, sleep and, like, adequate spiritual hygiene all go hand in hand. And until I truly embrace that for myself, I see why I was so depressed. I see why I did, tolerated things, didn't have boundaries, people pleasing, whatever I was doing, prior to the situation, because it was like I wasn't ever thinking properly. And then when you mix drugs and alcohol with that, next thing, people think they're depressed. They think they need these medicines, they need these things. And I'm not, if that works for you, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying that there's so many things that you could do for your body, simple things, that could probably help you align in a different way.
And be a better change, too. And also, too, you bring up a good thing as well about, a lot of people think that alcohol and drugs are like the quick solution sometimes when they are going through that thing, and a lot of times it is about what you're putting in your body. Like, I think too, it's like, if you kind of like sit back and realize, like, that's what it kind of goes back to, like, reflection. If you sit back and realize, okay, I'm doing this, like, I'm doing that, how's this affecting me? Like, and you bring up another thing earlier about energy and stuff. It's like, it's about everything you do in life. Even going to the store, it's like, what energy are you doing? And talking about being organized and, like, being clean and cleaning stuff and, like, getting that energy out, you really think about it as well. You can really start, once everything in your life is cleaned and organized, you can start focus on so many things. Like, if your friend says, hey, I got a problem, but then you're like, hey, this is kind of sketchy about the government, and then you're like, hey, I just saw a car crash, and there's like 3 chaotic things, but you have everything else handled. You almost, in that point get that encouragement where you feel like you can take on all three of that stuff because you're like, hey, I got everything else taken care of in my life. I can go solve these things. I can jump on that. I really do think that happens a lot. Just being able to like, oh, you know what? I got all my shit together. Now I'll be able to help this person. And then that's when sometimes the people that do have their shit together bite off more than they can chew. So
yeah. Because, I think it's a lifelong battle with personality traits and parts of yourself and, programming, things that are ingrained since birth that are going to be hard in your 30s and 40s to break or even in your 20s because you're still not fully developed. The human body is still developing through our 20s up to a certain point. You know what I mean? And it's like we as humans have evolved at such a rapid rate that just 100 years ago things were absolutely so different. Like we haven't even reached like 100 years since like the stock market crash and like all those things. That was in the 40s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Great Depression was in the 40s. So we still have people living currently in their 80s or whatever that grew up with parents that just came out of the Great Depression. Imagine that negative energy, how that's ingrained in people. That's why I don't rock with letting certain politicians be lifelong politicians. Like we've got people who only had one or two pairs of shoes their whole life growing up, maybe one if they were lucky type deal, because my grandparents talk about not having shoes, not being able to afford shoes and things. So and that's my grandparents.
Everybody, that's the thing about it, that the biggest deal, we're in the generation and things have changed, the price of stuff, everything out. Fashion, everything's changed. It's 2021, but we have too many people in that are politicians, are old as fuck, that don't know, like, hey, I need to think about this from a younger person's perspective, or doesn't want to work with younger people. Also, too, you have another situation as well where just older people in general, not even politicians, just old people in general are not open-minded. It goes back to that.
It's programmed, though. It's ingrained.
It's ingrained.
It robbed them of
it's
their...
sad. Yeah, their identity. And that's why I feel very blessed right now at this point of life that I can choose what I want. I feel like I have the power and the freedom.
Yes.
And I feel like I can do whatever the fuck I want. And that's why I've lived life to the fullest. Like, I'm 31 years old. Hope to live another 60 years, but the main thing about me is it's like I live life to the fullest. I go hard. I'm very positive. I help people, but I want to have fun. I want to see what's out there. I'm open-minded. Like, I don't judge people, and I'm big on I want to leave a positive legacy, but I also too want to just leave that positive imprint for people to be like, hey, that dude's an ally to whatever, and I feel like you're the same type of person where you're an ally to people, and that's what it's about. It's about helping people, no matter if you're doing a psychic reading or you're doing just a hey, how you doing kind of deal.
Yeah.
So another thing I wanted to ask you, what's your thoughts on people, and this is the bullshit kind of goofy things people say when they hear psychic or thing. What do you think about people that see crystal balls? Do you believe in them?
Yes. Crystal balls is not that they're
people
actually...
are haters about it.
Okay, so look. Let me rock with y'all real quick. Movies and TV have shown you all images in the crystal ball, so you think that actually happens.
Sure.
But basically a crystal ball is a focus object. It's because I'm sure if you've watched any of my live readings, you notice that I look away from the camera and I'm still talking, but I'm looking up to the corner, kind of away from the camera. It's not because I'm camera shy. It's because every time I do a reading, it's just that's how you do it. If you watch a lot of really great psychics do YouTube or do tarot or whatever, they're looking away a lot or fidgeting with their hair or a necklace. It's kind of like a focus object. It takes you out of the physical space that you're in and puts you into the spiritual, energy that you want to be in. Because
I definitely know the necklace. I've seen them pull the necklace.
Yeah, and so basically, I think that the crystal ball, and from what I've been taught, it's basically a focus object. The crystal, clear quartz crystal, is an amplifier. So I could have a pound of black tourmaline and have a couple quartz crystals around it, and it amplifies that pound of tourmaline.
Yeah.
So it amplifies the intentions. So basically a crystal ball is more of a like a filler. They feel, you know what I mean? And you're getting energy through the crystals. So I'm a Reiki master, and we also do crystal Reiki, where we use crystals to work through the Reiki.
I learned about Reiki actually about a year ago when I worked at Leo. I learned through a few Reiki masters that were in town, and very interesting. I mean, it's a very cool practice. Something about talking about the looking at the ball is basically Beer Nose on the river there by the Yum Center down on 2nd Street. Probably back 10 years ago, they used to have a fortune teller / psychic that would sit in the stairwell, and it wasn't even part of Beer Nose. It was just part of the building. Like, was heading down the stairs. Old woman, and she could read so many things, and she would just use this crystal ball. So it always fascinated me because I saw it as a kid. So pretty much you've brought some cards and you brought some things. So do you want to start? You want to give it a try, break it out?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So this is pretty cool. So basically, I've actually did a social media post here recently where I've decided I'm just going to do audio only. I'm not videoing anymore. Everything was fine, but it just with formatting and different things. So you can still find this podcast, Spotify, Google, Apple, about 14 other platforms. I'll be taking some pictures. You can find it Vibing with Sleezy, the podcast, on Instagram, Facebook as well. So I'm really excited because this is something that I'm very interested in, and I think the listeners are, and I think too for people that haven't experienced this is cool. And I mean, so let's I'm gonna hold up your cards. Nice. So basically, taking a couple pics there for the social media. So this will be a reading, correct?
Yes. So I'm going to say a blessing, and then do you have a question that you want to, or like sometimes like people have an area of their life, so like my career or my love life or my family life or work life, or you know.
You know what? Let's do career, just because right now I just work part-time and I'm doing real estate school, but I also like just curious if right now I'm kind of pending if unemployment's going to keep working or what the deal is. I also do all these little things on the side, so I'm kind of curious what career growth is about to happen for me.
Okay. So, Father God, Mother Earth, thank you so much for this time today. Thank you so much for bringing us together on this podcast this beautiful afternoon. At this time, help me to be a clear channel in the highest good of all. Help me to bring through messages in the highest good. I ask for protection and I ask for guidance. Spirit Circle is now open with blessings and gratitude. Yes. So what's the message about the career? So I'm going to pull a past, present, future. Okay. So I'll do like the past.
Because I feel happy with my career future. It's just the main thing is I would like to know maybe if I'm going in the right direction, and also too, like if real estate is the right direction, and kind of what's going to happen in the future. So I'm very interested.
Wow. Okay, so the first card in the past position is the Hierophant. Wow. And so the Hierophant is the twin flame of the High Priestess. Okay. So this would be like a High Priest, but bigger, better, more expansion. This card is all about like ancient wisdom and like actually activating lost files. So we all, the universe, when I say we all, the universe operates on a record system. So everything that ever was and everything that ever is and everything that ever will be is kept in these records, and they're called the Akashic records. So this card to me is saying that like you've already been receiving a lot of guidance and have been taking steps, but there's still something that either you're not looking close enough or you're looking too close, kind of like. So sometimes like we have to look at it with fresh eyes. We have to like put it away for a little bit and then come back to it, or sometimes we have to look at it with fresh eyes as a different program, a different download, seeing it like for all the ways that it could versus all the ways it might not, and all the ways that it hasn't before or doesn't for others. Or does that make sense for you?
Yeah, this is very interesting.
Okay.
Wow.
So the Hierophant is also represented by Taurus, and I'm a Taurus, so this is like my card, but we're in Taurus season, so I feel like this is really a lot of transformation and growth. Especially, I feel like in the last couple years, you've really tapped in with the seasons more. I feel like you're really taking it in, like, wow, winter really does this, and then it like comes back. I feel like you've been paying attention to that. Like, you've been absorbing that on a soul level where it's like, wow, I'm taking in this beautiful scenery and this beautiful tree that grew back, and I love it. You know what I mean? Kind of thing.
I have, because this whole area that's outside of my apartment patio, literally about 50 feet from where we're recording, the trees do regrow, and it's kind of changes almost the like sunlight privacy, pattern, the scenery pattern. Oh my gosh, my mind's blown. You're good, Paige.
And then right here we have the Nine of Swords, and as you can see, pressed, stress. This is present, and this, I feel like you don't show this side of you, but you have these like fears and worries, and honestly, a lot of these fears are around like being great. Yeah. Like, it's like, well,
I'm a perfectionist.
Yeah.
I am, yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting. So I'm feeling like you said you were a Libra, that you bringing more balance to these parts of yourself. So like, not pretending that they don't exist. I feel like this is you shutting things off, like, well, this doesn't exist, but you can't shut off the darkness because you have to incorporate it. The transition is now incorporating, like I said, like, I can preach and teach and say things, and sometimes other people's readings and messages trigger growth and healing within me. I like to think that if I give someone a really great reading, I've planted some seeds, and it's up to them to water them, to take care of them, to grow them, to elevate them. So I feel like you've been getting a lot of seeds, but you're like collecting them in a jar, and you're like, I'll plant these all at the same time. And Spirit's like, you can't hoard the ideas, you can't hoard the resources, or the, you know, like the Hierophant's about like taking risk with new partnerships, new friendships. As you see these two people at the bottom, there's like some keys. Like, this is about like apprenticeship. This is about being willing to fail, being willing to try, being willing to suck at
which
something.
Is what I'm doing is like I feel like I've always been good at sales. I've always been good at my personality. I'm good at renting homes, but like real estate is something brand new, and I could fail big.
There, like, see, and you're intimidated. That's like, this is where a lot of this energy.
And it's like, I don't show it. Like, I feel like you take on anything, but I am kind of intimidated. Like, I want to make sure it's the right calling, the right case. That's the thing.
But when you have to like tell yourself like, well, if this works, this will be it. You're limiting possibilities. Like, this could be it. You could sell a house to a guy that owns 18 golf courses, and now he wants you to do PR for his golf courses, and they're a national company.
Yeah. And this podcast could blow up.
You know what I mean?
That's my main goal too. This podcast could blow up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is episode 13, which is really good fortune and favor, because that is like my number popping.
Oh, I want to have you back if it blows up. Like, we're gonna have you back for sure. Yes. You're an awesome guest. I'm having a blast. So I'm ready to.
All right. So it's promising, because in the future, look at all this growth. The Ace of Wands.
So much growth.
It is. This is what this is. This is about out of the blue.
Beautiful.
This is like out of the blue help, luck, you know, good fortune, windfall. Like I said, I feel like you could meet someone that is so unexpected, and I feel like it's more out of your realm. Like, it could even be like you meet this person and then have them on your podcast, and then next thing you know, they're like, I really like you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? I just feel like someone from a different avenue is going to come in some way. And so
that's the future.
Yeah, this is the future.
That's beautiful growth. I love it, because I deserve
like
that.
All of these fears and all of these programs, you really have to cut like a sword. You have to cut the ties. You have to cut the channels. You're leaving things like open, even though you don't focus on it and like harbor. Some people hold it in and harbor over it, and they're like, you fat piece of shit, but they don't ever go to the gym. It's like, well, damn, you know, enjoy your life, or do it. You know what I mean? So I feel like people are mean to themselves out of programming and fear to be great, to be perfect, to be this. So I feel like for you, you know that you have persistence, and that you have responsibility, and that you have passion. With those three things, you don't need the funds or all this. You need the time, the dedication, and the consistency.
True.
So a lot of times people manifest and they want to manifest money or a boat or a car or all these things. But it's like if you just manifested patience and persistence and perseverance and like other like virtues in your life, then you would be a well-rounded, taking care of your spirit, you know, extending this energy to the universe so the universe can meet you halfway.
I'm processing all of this. This is insane. Like that's such a good card.
Number one. It's number 1, and this was number 9. So I feel like really turning these new chapters, and this is number 5. So turning these new chapters, turning new leaves, but the present moment can be dragged out with resistance or fear or like, you know, knowing you have the programs is the first step, but then like acknowledging, like writing it out and asking yourself, why do I want these things? And list 10 reasons of everything of why you want it. Like if your goal is to have certain things,
that is
write them out. And if 4 to 5 of those on that list have something to do with anyone else, I'm talking like make my parents proud or external validation or money or external things that are outside of you. If there's more than 4 or 5 of them on that list, reconsider why you really want that.
True.
Reconsider why you're willing to work for it, why you're willing. I like to say, you know, like find what you love and let it kill you. So like, why are you willing to put your, you know what I mean? Like your goals, your mind, your energy towards certain things.
That is important to think about.
So I feel like that's for you right now. It's like you have all these big plans, but map out why you want these things. Because then it makes it easier to do them. Then it makes it easier for them to come to you when you acknowledge what it's going to take to get there and what you actually need to get there and what you're willing to do to get there. Because some people are like, okay, I want to be a rapper or I want to be a model or I want to do this, but they're not willing to put in the work that it takes to get there.
True.
And that's, you know, sacrificing certain things to do other things. And that could be going on a trip with your friends or staying home and making beats.
And I feel like this is what I feel like from a standpoint of I have always worked hard to get to the goal, like whatever position I'm in, but I have been recently reluctant on some things. And I feel like though once I do get to that goal or like I'm able to do it, there will be growth. Like there's said in the future, there will be this potential, and I think I'm really good about network. Yeah, the wisdom I'm taking from what I've learned, and I think that people like I think I'm really good about taking what like people tell me. I absorb it well. Maybe not even like the book smart or the same point. Like I'm books. I feel like I'm a little bit of both. Like I have common sense and book smart, but I like talking to people more, like gaining that experience that way, or hands on, and then seeing what it can do growth wise. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
One favor. Can we do my love life? Can we do a new shuffle?
I was gonna do the bottom of the card.
I would like to do. I was just gonna say.
It's the card that's on the box. It's on the bottom. So this is the end of the reading, and so look. Leo, I was about to say there's a lot of Leo energy because Leo is represented by the sun.
Yeah. Like
the sun is on this card, and then you've got Leo on the wall, and I've been looking at it. This card is represented by the zodiac Leo because it's got the lion on there, and it's the strength card. So Spirit is saying like you are strong, and like that is your qualities. You might not be perfect, you might not be number one, but you shouldn't stress about being those things if you know your other strong suits are like being a people person, being able to connect, being able to read the energy. Like I know, like you said, sales, like I do sales, you know what I mean? Sales is like a thing that if you're a people person and you actually, it's like being a chameleon.
True.
A chameleon. It's like, okay, what is this person interested in? And you can almost pull it out from their vibe and who they are and talk to them about it. That's a unique gift that a lot of people don't have. So of course you have a podcast like that manifested because that's something that really flows for you, and I don't see that you think of this as like a job. Like you've got the passion and that excitement, and I feel like
it is
applying
it's
that energy and that passion to other parts of your life and creating a passionate like portal like this of strength and like, you know, patience, and knowing that what's for you like is going to come for you if you have that like-minded mindset. You're working towards it, even if it's like, you know, the tortoise and the hare, like even if it's one day at a time like everyone else,
It takes time, but
right.
once I'm
but
like,
that wisdom that you're accumulating, you're working through these
to get to goals that I want to achieve.
Yeah, we can do your love life though. Yeah, with the strength card, that's a really cool card to be on the bottom.
I'm just curious. Yeah, I'd like to do my love life. I think that's the other question I have. But basically, the love life is like I talk to a couple people occasionally, but right now I'm kind of like single, clean slate at this spot. So I'm kind of curious to see what it says. Like I said, that's where I'm open-minded about this. I feel like I got everything else figured out in life. Like hopefully, I feel good about it. I'm very positive. I love life, but I'm excited to see what can happen. This is very cool. So So is this 4 cards?
Yeah, 4 came out. So I won't do the bottom, but yeah, 4 flipped out. So the first card we got is the Empress, number 3. The Empress is the mother of the tarot.
Wow.
I feel like, do you and your mom have a good relationship?
Yes,
okay, I feel that. So I feel like because you and your mom have this beautiful relationship, you basically will end up wanting someone that kind of steps up to those shoes, steps up to that plate. Like, this is not a negative. I'm trying to like word it because Spirit's trying to let me know, but something about like your mom's just so great, so you're like, trying. It's not that you're comparing these people or searching for it. It's just like you're uniquely going to attract, like your person will be similar to your mom kind of thing, because this is the mom of the tarot and this is in the past. So it's saying like growing up, like you've kind of got this wonderful image. Some people, don't have that of their mother. So it's like, it's a different end of the spectrum. I always like to think all of our unique pasts are so intricate, and like some people's, close relationships with their parents or not so close, they create different things, and they don't have to be negative or positive. They could be neutral, but people's birth charts will really say a lot of this. And so Leo represents the son, which represents the father. Like, so I just like, this is all tying in together. Leo also, like, just inherently, like, we're all affected by the different zodiacs, all of us, because the moon moving through Leo or Pisces is going to affect us because we're affected by the moon. So we're affected, even if you're not a Pisces or a Leo or a Scorpio, you're affected by them, period. You know what I mean? People don't know that, and I think that's the coolest thing about astrology is that you're affected by all of it. And I think it's so awesome. But we've got the Page of Pentacles for your present, and this is like, this is about setting boundaries with the physical world. Like, you see he's holding this pentacle, he's holding this item, and like, it's saying like, don't lose yourself trying to find or hold on to someone else or something, or times in your life that are better left done, kind of thing. It's like, don't reopen things, move on past kind of thing. It's like it's about like embracing the new energy instead of reactivating the old, because sometimes like you've actually learned the lessons, but sometimes people will go and reactivate the situation and it puts you right back in those cycles that you already learned. Do you mean personally doing old things, or do you mean doing old flames? Not necessarily people. I'm saying like old habits, you know what I mean? Like, like if in relationships, say every time you get in a relationship, something happens, like a cycle activates. Really working on that cycle first before activating a new relationship is what I'm saying. Like, like working through any cycles that you have, and acknowledging those for like how you played a role in it, how their anger made you angry, or your angry made, you know what I mean? Like those things. Because I feel like you have this time of reflection for a reason, because we've got the Devil card. But that's not a bad card. It just means that you're chained to something. I feel like I've had that before. So the Devil card has the lovers on it, and they're chained to the devil. So it's a unique card because it's like a mirror. It's the shadow side of the lovers. It's like, you can love it or you can hate it energy. So I'm saying like... Is it devil by hanging on to a past relationship? No, I think it's like old ways of being and like old mindsets around relationships and how you want them to be or how you want them to I need flow. To evolve from that. Yeah, like you've got to close some of these cycles, and it's like, because your mom was so great, you've got her on this pedestal, and everyone else is kind of like a peasant. No offense to any of your exes, but they can't meet the standard, so you've got to figure out what's truly important to you on this soul level and like clear the cycles that maybe, you know, you overreacted sometimes, because everyone has their downfalls. Like, we're not perfect. We're human. You know what I mean? Like, we all have a shadow side of different aspects.
Because this is so accurate from the standpoint, I feel like I have been able to control everything, and like things have gone great in my life because of like the way I've worked hard. I'm very close with my family, even though I only have 3 family members, but I'm close with my mom. I think too that like I've introduced girls to my parents and stuff, and maybe my mom, you know, hasn't liked them, or it's been a case where, you know, also too, bringing up a subject you kind of talk about, it's not only putting people on a pedestal, but it's things where maybe, like you said, blown out of some out of proportion, or may overthought of something, almost sabotage, because I feel like I've had so many great situations, but then sometimes it's like, is it self-sabotage or is it them sabotaging? Like, how's it going? Because it's
a little bit of both. Because your people are a mirror of you. I mean,
because they do it to me as well.
Right, it's a mirror. So, I mean, whoever we encounter in this life in close proximities are mirroring something to us.
True.
Always.
Yes.
We're all, because our inner and their inner are speaking to each other on this like metaphysical level we don't understand.
Yeah.
That's how you know when someone comes home from work and they're in a bad mood, and you just know what happened, kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and because like I felt like I had that with I felt like I've had that with a couple of my exes, like that connection. But I think too, it's something too in your head where it's another thing. I kind of feel like you get hung on to wanting the relationship like you used to have it when it was good, like having it that similar form, and then
instead of letting the relationship evolve and flow.
Because I feel like every 5 years things change, like in anything, in industry and different things.
Well, every 7 years, like, every cell in your body has renewed itself. Every 7 years, every cell.
So it might even be where that's where I feel like you kind of got to open your mind and realize like things might not always be like it was back then, or it might not be like how you dated this person. It might be different dating this person. So that's interesting. Okay, that's interesting. This is crazy. Like, yeah.
All right, so and then we've got the Page of Swords.
What's that?
So I feel like the Page of Swords is like an innocent yet powerful energy. So it's like not taking yourself so seriously, not taking your life so seriously. Like people that are on a beaten path and actually care about, you know, leaving legacies or helping the world. Or we put a lot of pressure on ourselves as healers, as spiritual people, as you know,
facts for sure.
Light workers is what we are. So we put a lot of pressure on ourselves because we know it's bigger than us and it's bigger than this moment, and that's a lot to take in. And a lot of people spend their whole life and don't ever think like that. So what I like to do when I'm feeling down about my progress, or when I'm feeling down about something and I want to beat myself up about all the things I could be doing different, or all the things I shoulda, coulda, woulda done before, or when it was available, you know what I mean? Like everyone does this, no matter how successful you are. Angelina Jolie's doing this about, something right now. People just do it. Yeah. Even the most successful people do it. That's why, like R.I.P. Robin Williams. I mean, people that are super successful, you would never know, that leave a legacy, that do things that change the world in a monumental way, touching lives. You see what I'm saying? So we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be perfect, to be this. So
do I need to
take the pressure off, take the brakes off of, like, you know what? If it happens, it'll happen because it's supposed to happen, not because I'm forcing it, not because I'm manipulating it.
So go with the flow.
Yeah, like, I feel like you're resisting, like, that Ace of Wands energy, like, help out of nowhere, because you don't think help out of nowhere could even come because you're not asking for help. Kind of thing. Like, being open to the universe's gifts, and it might not be this physical manifestation of $1 million, but it could be the manifestation of a really cool business partner that has some great ideas, and then y'all meet an investor, and because y'all's energy together is so cool, somebody wants to invest in you.
So the way I'm taking it is this. So I have the growth in, like, my career coming if I kind of focus on
But you
on
could
energy.
Meet someone through
but
love.
I could meet somebody through that. Yeah, and meet somebody I love through my profession. Passions, but also, too, I think as well that it means I'm going to find somebody, too, that's, like,
matching
my energy and the same driven,
yep.
and they like
a mirror,
and they like what I and they like that they like my energy, and they think like, hey, this dude's like about
I could build
this.
with this person. Like I see like long term with this person.
That's what I want too in a partner.
See, that's
like,
what I'm saying. I know that's what you want. I know. So it's like
crazy.
So it's
this
like
is
okay,
wild. She does.
You
know.
got you got to elevate where your, you know what I mean, inner energy is at, because your outer energy and your outer presentation of your avatar, you know what I mean? I like to like think about it like The Sims, you know what I mean?
Shout
like,
out to The Sims.
Whatever is like, you know, because that was a program they programmed in
Yeah.
us, and we were doing it, and I'm like, if I think they were trying to tell us something here, but I don't know. I think it's a little weird, but
wow.
I think about stuff like that, and I can get overwhelmed and lost in what people want to call conspiracy theories, but they're pretty much right. And I think there's like a meme going around right now that said how you should talk to your friends that talk to you about conspiracy theories. Hey, bro, I know you've been right all along, or something. And I was just like, yeah, facts. Because when you think about,
I'm mind blown right now. Like I'm very like shocked because because I've had this happen before. That's why I believe in it. But it's like, this was so accurate. Like this was so. But I feel like I need to hear this from the standpoint of there was things that maybe I am guilty of, or things I'm not realizing that I'm doing the way I'm viewing things, or like, because a lot of times I am just going in open-minded, go with the flow, but I think too I focus on so much stuff because like I'm a perfectionist. I want everything to be done great. Like I just talked to my friend about this recently, like, man, I want everything perfect. I want this done right. Like I want this like I want to master this. Like I'm always about excelling. Like I'm always competitive. Like I always want to produce things that are worthwhile, and I think that's something good in me, and I think that's something I do in every aspect of life. But I also have to maybe pull the restraints back and relax from the standpoint, and just like realize too that it's like I cannot be perfect and people will still accept me. That kind of deal, if that makes sense. Maybe that's the
like that's what I said, you know, like when we are trying to be in touch with our spirit and our soul and like our higher calling, we put pressure on ourselves to get it right, or like, but the thing about being human is like we knew that it was going to be a lot different here, you know what I mean? Like we knew we wouldn't be able to know all the secrets of the universe and know all the secrets of, you know, how the dinosaurs just disappeared and we showed up, you know, what's up?
That is,
you know, there's a theory that I love to entertain, that the aliens, or not aliens, what we call alien, but an extraterrestrial, a being that is actually our ancestor. Somehow we are a formation or a mutation or that they created.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like a subspecies that they wanted here on this, you know.
So they can control us?
No, not necessarily control us, but they wanted to explore it. They wanted to inhabit it. They wanted to have a project of some sort. Yeah. So they got rid of the dinosaurs and sent, you know, some kind of energy, some kind of something that created the Ice Age, that created what happened.
Paige, you are blowing my mind, because I literally just put a status up like a couple weeks ago on Facebook.
We're not friends on Facebook either.
Yeah, we're not. That's what's crazy. Oh my gosh, I just realized we're not.
No.
Holy shit.
I just followed you on your personal Instagram 2 days ago.
2 to 3 weeks ago, I on Facebook posted about like, what if we were alive when the dinosaurs, or what if dinosaurs were still alive? And I got a lot of interaction from it, or like people were like, oh yeah, that's interesting. And
that's the download you're getting from spirit. They want you to ponder these things, because when you start entertaining these new ideas, you're like, everything I've ever been taught or told is a lie. All of it.
It is, though.
They have the skeletons preserved to the point where they're like, yeah, we know where all of the solid... It's like the dinosaurs just dropped dead. Some of these dinosaurs were mummified or frozen and still had food that had not been processed in their stomach.
Do you think there's any... this is
I'm saying that should happen instantly. It was just like, ozone done.
I'm so glad we're diving into this, because this is something I want to ask you. So, dinosaur-wise... Okay, here's a big question, and thank you for those readings.
Yes,
I really appreciate
thank you, Spirit. Shout out, Spirit.
Yeah, thank you for the spirits, and thank you to Paige. Paige just has a lot of great energy. This dinosaur thing is a good question. I want to get touch with you about. So here's the thing. Dinosaurs. You just brought up a theory that I've never thought about, and I'm really glad you did. So that's what's so great about podcasts and just talking to people, because I had no idea or even thought about that. But something that is very that I haven't thought about is this. Is like, okay, I've been to so many museums where I've seen the dinosaurs built. They blow your mind. I've seen the robotic. I've seen the movies. How do we know that this is what they really look like? Also, too, how are we building them just by finding this in the ground?
Sheer memory. It's
sheer
like
memory. Oh,
sheer
it's like
memory.
Yeah, it's like, oh, let me just put this L1 next to this R3, and it's going to be a Stegosaurus spine. It's like, how do we know that? Also, too, the other thing is, I get that we can picture things once you put it together. It's very easy to picture that as, okay, I can see maybe the bones.
How long and who paid for you to put that together?
But
who paid for it? Who got this together?
Who funded it to put it together? Also, too, here's the big question. You brought up fossilized things. So, people have been talking about how they want to bring dinosaurs back. A lot of people have said there's rumors that in 2025 they'll be able to bring back something cloned, because what happened is this. They haven't been able to find any DNA that was still functional long enough to be able to use in cloning, but now they're finding like ways with like bone marrow and all these different things they can extract to make this happen. So if they did bring dinosaurs back, it would be wild. But the big question is this. They say there's so many things under the Smithsonian museums. They say there's so many hidden basements and all these storage facilities all around the United States.
There's hidden basements all over the United States.
In the basement.
Who built them?
There's caves in the world. It's like, who's funding them? Who's supporting them? And so here's the big question for me is dinosaurs got frozen. Is there just a big ass fucking woolly mammoth frozen like in a basement level, and they just can go down there and they're like, hey, open up cell A1, and they open it up, and it's just this woolly. It's dead, but it's just whole body is just frozen in there, and they
like
can
Austin Powers.
Yeah, like like lasers, but mini lasers. But anyway, so tiny little lasers. But anyway, so it's just, I think that it is just something to think about. I just watched the Jurassic World Universal Studios ride on YouTube. Like, sometimes I like to do that. Like, you get baked or you have a couple drinks, or you might even be sober and you turn on the YouTube. I didn't know you could do this. So. You turn on the YouTube and you YouTube a ride. So you YouTube search a ride, and somebody is either got it in their pocket or like in their chest, or they got like a camera strapped around their neck like a necklace, and they're filming their whole ride experience, and you get to ride the ride through your TV screen or your computer, your phone. So it's HD. So the Jurassic World ride's got all these dinosaurs, all these crazy. There's literally spoiler alert, there's two T-Rex going at it, fighting over top of you. They've taken the Jurassic Park ride and evolved into this Jurassic World ride that is incredible. It's mind-blowing. So it's one of these cases where it is a mystery of how do these people know what these dinosaurs look like. Also, too, watching birds like emus and different things that are similar to the raptor family, it is kind of freaky to realize that like
a rhino. I saw a rhino at the zoo the other day. Rhino, it was definitely related to a dinosaur.
And it's got and its horn, with the rhino too, it's like its horn, you just look at that horn and there's so many questions you got. And seeing how the rhino can interact with just its body and its skin, it's so cool that we get to see that, but it's also there's so many mystery questions about it.
Not to bring religion into this, but like, how do y'all, this happened. I mean, I support religion. I believe in God as a, an entity, as a deity, as a person, whatever, spiritual being. But with that being said, how do we just have all these dinosaurs, have this big ice age, and then all of a sudden religion takes over and Jesus is here and all these things? Because someone made that possible. And that's why I was saying, like, that theory that extraterrestrial beings made that possible. I believe that. I believe that they don't function on a series of emotion and a series of all these things that humans function on, and that we are like this project.
Because we can almost
we adapt, we evolve, we grow. It's like we're ever changing. We shape shift,
and we can do whatever we want. And if it was someone controlling it, also too, they can see what we like. They can see what we prefer. We're very creative people. There's so many smart people that can come up with stuff, but we also are like we're very habit type people where we'll eat the
Comfort
same food,
creatures.
drink food, like follow it, like get interested in something. So that's why we're so into when people are different, or when they have a different look or a different personality, or even doing something different like a podcast or anything. Like we get interested because it's something new to the world that you're currently living in. I think too, like a big question is not only with like dinosaurs and different things, but it's like, think about the stuff that we do now. Like talking about TikTok, I watched a hilarious video. It was a guy, he's standing out, he's got a pilgrim background. Like it looks like he's like in the pilgrim times, and he's like just handed this pilgrim a blunt, and next thing you know, the guy's like like in the background, like a sound effect, like he's dying, and he's like, the dude's like smiling, like laughing, because it's like, think about that, like a pilgrim smoking a blunt, like all these like funny things. If we go back in time, things that we're using now, what would it be like? Like, oh hey, here, try this Coke, and it's like some like here you go, Thomas Jefferson, try this Coke. He drinks it. Oh shit, that's got a kick to it. Like all this fizz, like they're not used to it. Like we're so used to things, so it's crazy to really think with your brain of like how many things that we try and things evolve, and then but then we're also like, oh, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to do it this way. And then it's like, and then when people do it differently, we get mad. We get frustrated. Even though there's really no set way to do anything if you really think about it. If you can get the job done of what you're trying to achieve, that's all that matters. Like, who gives a shit if you do it on top of your head, spin it around like to open a can of soup? If you want to do it that way, hey, there's no rules to that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I think that's like I said, if you entertain and you really think with your brain long and hard, what is happening today that people are stressing over likes and followers, and we literally had gigantic, and when I say gigantic beings, just doing their MF thing over in Utah, what is now Central Asia, you know what I mean? Like, what's up?
Yeah.
And also Antarctica, like something's going on in Antarctica that's super conspiracy-ish, and there's a reason that no one can live in Antarctica, but there's a shit ton of army bases there for every different culture. There's like every culture, they all claim Antarctica as like, this is all of ours, so y'all can all get along over Antarctica, but not normal day to day.
Well, there's so many mysteries and conspiracy theories about the world. Like
talking about things being frozen under time is what I'm.
Oh yeah, things frozen
referring
time.
to. Like they still left a piece of that, because why isn't Antarctica like? I mean, why does that pole stay like that? And then
why hasn't it been? Why
does everything have a polar opposite?
Why?
Here?
And also too, it's like tourism's so big and such a moneymaker. It's like, why is there no more Antarctica tourism? What's the secrets hidden? You know, when you watch videos, it usually is on a base. You're not really seeing the exploitation unless it's like a National Geographic video. You know,
and no one's there though. Well, it's drones and things.
Well, like another thing that's crazy that like blows my mind, and this is like this isn't even switching subjects, but it's freaking. Okay, so it's in like Liberia over in Africa, but there's a whole island has chimpanzees that all have like a disease. Like they all have a disease. They can't be living with other chimpanzees or humans or whatever. And it was all because during the war, humans were testing these monkeys over there, and they gave them diseases like syphilis and different stuff. And now these monkeys are angry and they don't want to be bothered by anyone. And it shows just how fucked up humans are, number one, because to do that to a bunch of monkeys and then put them on an island and make them basically like fend for themselves. But also too, the reason I bring it up is it's messed up because it's like people don't know about that stuff. You know, like talking about conspiracy theory, there's so many conspiracy theories that if there wasn't a digital world or social media or technology, they wouldn't be brought to light. And some need to be solved in a way. There's some
need to be talked about nationally.
They do.
Turn off the local news. We need a national broadcast about some of these things. But the thing is, the people who are broadcasting it, we already know, are the ones that don't want us to know. So it's cool. Like, I think podcasts are bringing a lot of light to this because it's uncensored, it's raw, it's unique. This is like really all up my alley. This is what I think about on a regular basis. Like, step into my brain for just a little bit and explore like a creative world of like magic and unknown possibilities. I love and totally believe that Jesus was a person and he was here, and like I love that people worship him. Like, I think it's great. When we do spirit circles, we always are talking to Jesus, shout out Jesus, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, I believe that these things are here to help us learn, cope, and evolve. They're not here to box us in. I think everything is meant to be questioned. Everything that they've left us is riddled.
But I think too, there's not. I think this is where. But what you just nailed, because I don't want to forget it. I do believe Jesus is real too, but people need to realize too, like Muhammad was real. All these people,
right?
I don't think there. Sometimes I think there's a God. I think there is. But I don't think there's a one set person. The more you think about it, maybe they all were doing blessings. Maybe they all have a purpose.
They do.
And maybe
they do.
And maybe there shouldn't be this battle of I'm this person or I believe in this person.
Right.
Maybe open your mind and realize, hey, he was here for a reason. This person was for a reason. This woman was here for a reason. And they have all these blessings and all these things. And people have to realize, like, that's very important. And that is a situation that if you don't think that way, it's not, it doesn't help you. It doesn't help your argument of saying, well, that person's wrong. Well, you don't even know what they believe in. You haven't even really looked into it. And I think that's where religion has a lot of fucked up things about it, but there's a lot of beautiful things about it. And that's where your belief system can really realize where nobody's really wrong. I think if you have faith, it's just a beautiful thing. And no matter what your faith is, you don't have to preach it down someone's throat. You don't have to like say you're wrong or this is what you should believe or this is what I believe.
You don't have to convince anyone.
You don't have to convince people. Just believe what you believe and keep that faith. And if you're doing it in a positive way, that's the main thing. And also too, open your mind and think about, hey, maybe this prophet who might not be from my religion, but might be from Islam or might be from this world spectrum, it's different. You know, like there's so many arguments that have been over religion, over rules, for
more people have died over religion than anything.
Exactly, and it's
than
like
any disease that could happen.
And you got people that are believing in the flying spaghetti monster, and and it's like, you know what?
I've seen that. I think that's cool. I think that's just people that are like, I'm going to be different.
And it's like, I think they also realize, like, hey, this is a actual spaghetti bowl, like this is kind of cool and it's a cute little artwork. Now, I'm not saying I believe in that, but I believe that they have every right to do it. And also too, it's like, it's
bringing people together, and that's what the point of religion is. It's not to divide, it's to bring people together and give them hope and understanding and just a little bit of wisdom from the people that came before them. But instead of us incorporating and interacting with all, we're like, this is right. It's the same thing with sports teams. It's the same thing with high schools. It's the same thing with colleges. Exactly. People do it over everything. And now it's like, well, I have a gas car. I've heard at least like 5 people say, I don't want a gas car anymore. And I'm thinking that's because all of a sudden that's like the cool going thing. And there is a tax credit. You can get like $10,000 tax credit to get an electric car. But fuck that. That's a one-time thing. And if you don't want that, why you want it all of a sudden? We want what other people want. And I understand that's better for the world, but like run out and buy the first iPhone. It was really expensive. You know what I mean? Like,
and when people don't open their mind too that they're being lied to sometimes. Like, people read something on the internet or they'll hear something and they like talking about, they'll go run out and do it or try it. And it's like, it's cool to do that, but it's like they'll go out and they'll be like, well, this is what I believe in now, and then it can be completely false. It's like, just everybody should toot their own horn and believe in what they believe in, but it's like, do some research too.
Check for yourself.
Check
Learn
yourself.
For yourself. I encourage everyone to just question everything and absorb it the way that you want to, not the way you're told to, not the way other people are, but just question everything. Like, I believe everything like I said, is riddled, just like the Egyptians and different cultures that we've had, the Mayans. There's riddles all over history. Our ancestors were trying to explain it to us the best way that they knew how. And I believe that there's so much magic in what came before us. And they always say that, if you don't study history, learn history, you repeat the history. And I think that's where a lot of us don't understand, like, what we were taught may have not been exactly what was going down most of the time. It's for children. I mean, you're not, you know what I mean? Like,
no, and
some
I
of
think
them battles
right.
and some of them things, I mean, they briefly touched on how bad it was.
Yeah.
And I think that goes for slavery and a lot of the Holocaust, all of it. We briefly got a brief motion of what it was. Unless you were a history major and you have a bachelor's degree, you did not learn that either. You may took one history class for your gens, and depending on what your degree was, you probably never took another history class unless you wanted to. I took a few, but...
Yeah, but think about this. One teacher is responsible for like 300 students in a year to try to teach them that every year. If that teacher's not worth the shit, you're not going to learn it. And I think you've nailed it so perfect. If you got to learn history to not repeat itself, but also too, you got to evolve and get better. And you can't just keep living. Like, life is you're supposed to improve. It's all about improving. It's supposed to be better. Enrich it. Try new things. Do new things. Quit doing the same bullshit. And who gives a fuck they did that in the 60s? Like, move the fuck on. Like, it's time to fucking grow and get your head out of your ass. And I'm sorry, I think a lot of people...
Passion is flowing over here. Look, yeah, we got the passion.
Yeah, I get fired up. And the thing about it is, I'm a very passionate person. Sometimes, I get too fired up about things. But it's like, I just wish people would realize, like, it's time to grow. And it's time to grow every day. And it's so easy to... Yes, you can learn about the past no matter what. We have Google. We're super blessed. Present day, it's fun because you're enjoying yourself. You're about the present day. But the future, it's so important to think about. Yeah, we're all guilty of and selfish of. Yeah, I want to care about my future. Oh, who am I going to be with one day? Who am I going to eat with one day? What am I going to do this day? Or am I going to go to that festival 3 months from now? Like, we want to think about that stuff because that stuff's fun. It gives us endorphins. Like, we're like, fuck yeah, I want to do that. Like, I can't wait to do that. But we don't think about the future and what it can affect, like, kids, like the next generation. Also, too, it's like, just in general, like,
just what you're teaching. It goes back
kids. To what you're teaching and what you're spreading out. Yes, everyone has different opinions and different facts, but the biggest thing, in my opinion, when it comes to religion and it comes to anything, teach your kids the right things, but also to let your kid decide. Let your kid decide in every aspect of life. It is their fucking life. It's not your life. It's not your life to control. Make sure your kid knows what's right from wrong, but let your kid get out in the world and realize there's so many things, and your kid's not wrong with whatever decision. Nobody's wrong. If you're putting evil in the world and you're negative, yeah, you're fucking wrong. Fuck you. But if you're positive and you're putting out good stuff and, like, you're spreading a good word no matter what you believe in or what you sat on or what you're about, that's all it's about. Like, just keep spreading positivity. So I want to tell you that you have been an amazing guest and you are an amazing person. I've just gotten to know you, and your energy's great. I love your pants, by the way. You got these flame pants, which are pretty dope. But I think you're an awesome person. I think what you're doing is great. I think you are going to keep growing as a human, but you're going to keep blowing up just in your brand. I appreciate what you brought. You brought some gifts over, which is always appreciative. I want to thank everybody that listens to Vibing with Sleezy, the podcast. It has been an amazing show. This one's probably been the most fun. I've had a blast. Like, this has been so cool, and I appreciate you doing the reading. But overall, I want to thank everybody that's been listening. Instagram is Vibing with Sleazy, the podcast. Same on Facebook. You can reach out at vibingwithsleazy@gmail.com. Also, too, I love fan mail. I love any DMs, any messages. I appreciate everybody that has been listening regularly all over the world. I want to thank Paige for being on the show. Paige has been incredible. Paige, again, like I said, you have a bright future with, I think, your readings, but also too, just you as a human being. You're a great person, and I really appreciate you being on this show. So plug your stuff and tell them about yourself, like where they can connect with you if they have any questions or want a reading.
Okay, really the best way to get into contact with me is my website. If you visit my website, you can tap in, send me an email, book a reading, whatever. And my website is Contrary, which is CONTRARY. So a lot of people are like, how do you spell that? So contrarycherryco.com. And you can also find me on Facebook under the same thing. I am an LLC now, so I became an LLC
That's awesome.
a couple months ago, and it's been really exciting. I feel like taking that next step in the business really helped ignite that energy that I was talking about, igniting that passion, igniting it, working with the transits, working with the planets.
Yeah.
So the Saturn return for me has been dynamic. I've been doing a lot of healing, a lot of growth, a lot of change. And then you can also find me on my Instagram. I have 2 of them. You can just visit Contrary Cherry Co. on Instagram as well. And you'll be able to find all of my link tree on there. I've got TikTok. I have everything. So if you find me on socials, you'll definitely be able to tap in with my other platforms. And thank you for having me. Thank you for all of the great conversation. I really like the diversity. I don't want to change anyone's beliefs. I just like challenging and letting people plant that seed on their own. Like, you give them the seed, they plant it, they water it, and it will transform your life. I've seen it. It happens. It works. I wouldn't say it if it wasn't working.
Yes.
And the thing about it is you can tell when people are genuine. You can tell when people mean what they're saying, and I think that's super important in spiritual work. So recommend everyone getting a reading from someone that is, legit. You don't want someone to scare you away from something that could really help you. Sometimes, I've heard these horror stories of people doing and saying crazy things. A reader should never really tell you that you need to do something, but they should encourage you in the direction that you need to do something. But telling you, like, you will be cursed if you don't do this in 10 days, you know what I mean? Or saying something that's not the reader's job.
Yeah.
It's not the reader's job to judge you. It's not the reader's job to, guilt trip you into doing something. I think a lot of people, what's important about a reading is being open-minded, like you said a lot. And then just really being prepared with what do you want to talk about? Because, I could prove to you I'm a psychic and tap in and just give you messages. But if you actually have questions and things that are bothering you, why not get clarity on them? Why not be vulnerable and open it up? So that's why
that's very
I'm
good.
really excited that you were very vulnerable talking about the love life. Because some people have been like, I don't want to do that on the podcast kind of thing. So I thought that was super raw, vulnerable, and being open-minded in a different way. So I really appreciated that energy, because a lot of people, they want to pretend that this is picture perfect show all the time, and I think it's important to admit that things will not and cannot in the balance of life ever be perfect all the time.
Exactly.
And I think that's in relationships.
I strive for perfection. I think
it's a good goal.
I do certain things great, but I have to realize I can fail, but also too, you have to be vulnerable to accept things or to achieve things. And so I'm very happy about a lot of aspects in life. I think life's going great. I'm excited about this summer, but I think things are falling in place just by this cards. Definitely gives you that growth, that satisfaction.
Yeah, it's like that clarity that you've been wanting confirmation from the universe. Like you're working towards something, and you're think
trustworthy with it, with your readings. Yeah,
right. And I'm like, it's super confidential. Like I never tell people about other people's readings. I'm not like, oh, you won't believe what happened.
Yeah.
It's like almost like therapy in a metaphysical way, and I feel like it actually heals instead of you talking and having to, open up a bunch.
True.
The more that you engage during a reading, though, I will say, the more that it's like a conversation, like our reading just was. That's being more open-minded and knowing the flow of what it is that you're really working on. Because if I am more into your energy, I can really tap in. Like, even though you told me some things, I told you other things. You know what I mean? Like, you still saw that I was super, tapped into what you were saying. But the more that you spoke, the more that we could connect energy just in general. So I think that was, cool and important thing that I wanted to point out for people that have never had a reading.
Yeah.
Some people, like you said, have you ever had a reading where someone's just stale? And I haven't, because everyone seems very excited, but people are like that because they want you to prove something to them, but really they need to prove something to themselves.
They need to be excited for it, but they need to also realize, like, this could get serious. Like, I need to figure out what's about to happen, kind of deal. Like, I need to, like, be excited, but also to realize that you're going to learn something about yourself.
Yeah, kind of yeah. Like, be willing to incorporate and absorb that information.
Accept it.
Yeah, because, like, you can be in denial or you can avoid things, but, you know, I always say to my own, like, just in my day-to-day, like, not making a choice is a choice. Yes. You know what I mean? So, like, whether you do it or don't, that's the choice. You know what I mean? So, some people think, like, if I just don't give it attention, it'll go away. But it's, like, not making that choice to give it attention or to do it or to step up to the plate. And I think that's, like, our soul's evolving, you know, voice and our intuition. We all are psychic. Like, all humans have these abilities when you're not bogging yourself down energy-wise. You know, when you're wanting to be that clear channel, that oracle for spirit, like, they have to lower their energy and we have to raise our energy to come into connection. I mean, and so to meet them halfway or to meet them, you have to be able to elevate yourself in a way it's a literal energy force field. It's a literal, you know, so meditation and doing those types of things, they help clear your energies from your day-to-day, from laundry, from work, from kids, from school, whatever it is that is in your life. You know, it helps free you and bring you back to center, that we all are one. We all have this unique connection. And also the connections that we don't know answers to things until after we're in the spirit world. You know, I have spirits come through for people all the time, and some of the things that they say, like, you know, this person in their human life was a skeptic. I mean, wouldn't have never believed in a psychic or believed in anything like that. But they're the first people to come through in a mediumship appointment for, like, a client. Yeah. If they got a skeptic on the spirit side, they're ready to come through because they're blown away that this is real and that they're in the spirit world and they know it's real now. Yeah. It's like all the questions I had, all the things that scared me, all the things I coulda, shoulda, woulda wanted to do, but I was scared. You know, maybe that was get a tattoo or play pro basketball or whatever it was, you know, things I didn't do that I could have done as a kid. You know, people beat themselves up at the end of their life about the replay of all the coulda, shoulda, wouldas. Then they get to the spirit world, and if they were a skeptic and, like, closed-minded, they're blown away. I mean, because even, like, the people that were celebrities here, or, like, speakers or famous people, politicians, whoever, like Ben Franklin, you know, like, he's a celebrity or famous. Everybody knows who he is, right? Yeah. But in the spiritual realm, it's just like, oh, hey, Ben, like, what's up? Like, they don't even really go by these names. They shapeshift into whoever and whatever they want it to be. It's like, they might not even have their same human form. They'll show it to me if I need to know it, though. You see what I'm saying? Because it's the wildest.
So they can do, so they're basically...
So basically, if they, like, thought their golden days was, like, this one incarnation when they were 16, you know, because you're going to incarnate several times in different avatars. You're never going to just... You may have, like... in my personal belief, I've not been told this, just personally believe that we keep the same color eyes because the eyes are the window of the soul. We've said that. That's been passed down through scripture, through text. So that's my assumption, that we keep the same eyes. But I don't know that for a fact. But I do know that we could be man or woman, plant or fish. You know what I mean? Like, I think that... I didn't think about that. I think our soul evolves into all forms of life at some point of its creation. And
so, like, when you say, like, fish, different creatures, stuff like that, that could be...
They all have souls, I mean, so I just assume.
So, I feel like, too, with, like, the eyes or whatever, you bring that up, it's like, a lot of times, you know, I feel like that's how you connect with animals, too. Mm-hmm. Like, even, no matter if it's a zoo, anywhere, like, you can see, like, you can read eyes. And I think you bring up a good point, because people don't really realize, like, how that connection is, because it's like your brain, it's like an analyze, you know, like you see a movie, it's like an analyzation. So, but I think you've brought up so many good points, and you've brought up so many things. I've learned so much about myself, but also about certain aspects. I think a lot of people that listen to this episode can learn. I hope this helps your business grows. You were a guest that I want to have on again for sure. But I am definitely glad that we're friends now, and I appreciate you coming on Vibing with Sleazy. So this is episode 13, and this was Paige Buckman, and Vibing with Sleazy is on all the platforms audio-wise, so definitely go download, check it out, and support, and we are out. Peace.
Peace.